ahead and build the slide out. So when I worked at Splunk as on the sales team, and I worked with partners, I always wanted to know, what am I selling here? What is the partner selling? How does it work? How do I talk about it with the client? Big question when you're trying to get strange esoteric data into Splunk is, what are all the different ways I can get the data into Splunk? And usually what you're looking for is a free API. That doesn't exist in the SAP world. So there's a couple reasons for that. But if you try and connect with an API to time-stamped SAP data, you just get 2 or 3 data sources, and the SAP team is going to allow you to pull that out every 20 to 30 minutes. What we do with PowerConnect is we actually take transactions and we timestamp them, and we trick Splunk into thinking those are logs. Because when people wrote the original SAP accounting system 50 years ago in Germany, they didn't have the concept that they would need to capture timestamp data and make logs. It just wasn't something they thought of. And they wrote SAP in a mainframe-like development language called ABAP. So if you see here in the green box, that's actually a piece of ABAP code that we're going to install into the various 80 SAP applications that run on ABAP. Now, SAP is modernized, and about 15, 20 years ago, they started building in Java on what they call the NetWeaver layer. So some of the data that you would want to look at for all the use cases Shannon just talked through actually exist at the Java layer. So there are SAP applications that are 100% NetWeaver Java, and then there's those that share both the ABAP code and the Java code. So you also need to install in the Java layer a Java agent. And that as well needs to actually create data by time stamping it. And then it needs to kick that data out in real time in a way that is secure and protected and have it land in Splunk. And there's actually a third agent now that we built with our IP partners that pulls data out of the cloud properties that SAP has been acquiring. So think like Concur or SuccessFactors. These 3 agents are pulling over 1,700 different types of data, where with an API, you're just going to get 2 or 3. And those 2 or 3 are not enough to light up any of the 5 use cases. So what's important is those agents, in order for an SAP team to feel safe around installing those into their production SAP system, those agents need to be certified by SAP, because if they're not, you violate your SAP support agreement. And these agents are certified by SAP. They're backward compatible 8 to 10 years. And they are also certified for all of the different cloud vendors where you might be running your SAP. So your AWS, your Azure, your Google, all those are certified to run there, including a cloud property where SAP will run SAP for you called HEC. So the architecture here is really different from how we normally would pull data and land it in Splunk. It's these native agents, 3 of them. That's what you're actually buying from RHONDOS. Then you're buying the 24/7 support package that sits on top of those, so that if those have a problem or they get hung, you're talking to an SAP expert at RHONDOS 24/7, with the right service level agreement that maps to a Fortune 500 company. Once it lands over in Splunk, then you've got the 5-star PowerConnect for Splunk app. That's for core Splunk. You've got the service intelligence for SAP ITSI app. And then the reality is that 100% of our customers don't really buy because of what's out of the box in those two apps. They buy because they've got some sort of problem that's vexing them, either with security, audit, performance, or supply chain monitoring that's requiring customization. And so that's where the RHONDOS consulting team comes in, and we customize either the ITSI app, Splunk ES, or Splunk ITSI. We've got over 100 mini applications and 23 full Splunk applications, both on ITSI and core, that we land as code that goes along with these two apps that are on Splunk base. So I'll pause there. Does anyone have any questions around the architecture or how it's different from almost everything else in the Splunk world?